Well, South Dakota gets a big road win in Macomb on Saturday afternoon, 42-21 over Western Illinois, in a game they had to have. And head coach Bob Nielson joining me now to talk a little bit more about that. Bob, considering that fact, the fact that you did have to have this game to keep your playoff hopes alive, how do you feel about the way your team performed?
Well, very pleased. Having coached there, I know how hard it is, how hard of a place it is to play at. It's a tough trip. It's a long bus ride, kind of an awkward morning schedule, and our guys didn't let any of that faze them. I thought we came out and played from the very beginning. Made a couple of plays early on offensively, played pretty consistent defense throughout the game, and found a way to eventually get the game separated and a chance to play a lot of people in the fourth quarter.
Now, one of the big questions coming in, and you said you felt last week when we talked that you felt like Carson Camp's chances to play in that game were going to be pretty good. And sure enough, 18 rolls out there, gets the start. It felt like he was a little jumpy early, but settled in as that first half wore on. And boy, I tell you what, once he clicked in, he was really on target.
Yeah, he missed a couple of throws early, but I think some of that is just getting back into playing. Got hurt early against Illinois State, and so it really been 3 weeks since he had been back under fire. But I thought once he settled in, did a great job of operating our offense, made some really good throws at critical times to keep drives alive, and did a great job of managing our run game in combination with the passing game.
Western did end up reeling off 14 straight points after that initial score to take a 14-7 lead, but I felt like just when your defense really needed to step up and make a play early in that second quarter, you did, and who better to do it than Jack Cochran? He makes his third interception of the year, and that felt, honestly, like the turning point of the whole day.
Yeah, a huge momentum play. Western did have a little bit of momentum. We had finally gotten the wind switch there and had the wind at our back in the second quarter. Jack's interception, gave us a great field position, which we converted into an immediate touchdown, and it just gave our guys a whole lot of confidence. Western's a team that had done that to a lot of people. He had, scored early in a lot of games, had leads, games that have been very close at halftime. That score and the next two drives really separated the football game for us.
Boy, it really felt like you guys were operating at about peak efficiency there. Everything you were doing was working to close the half.
Yeah, the balance, the run game, pass game balance was good in those drives. We used some tempo to our advantage, and I think one of them was almost 80 yards, and one, over right at 70 yards. The last drive, we did a great job using all the clock, literally scoring. I think there were 7 seconds left in the half when we got the ball in the end zone. And to go from what was really a tight game to a 14-point lead at halftime was a big thing for our football team, and to be able to come out in the second half with great confidence.
Yeah, you're up, as you said, 28-14 at the break. But if there was one thing you definitely knew, and we talked a little bit about this last week, was that you had to finish. And this was going to require a 60-minute effort. Western Illinois had made a habit of coming back on teams in the second half several times throughout this season. But as you had previously a couple of times, specifically against North Dakota, specifically against Northern Iowa, when you needed to run the football to help salt that thing away, you definitely did it. Nate Thomas leading the way for much of that fourth quarter in particular.
We finally put a drive together there early in the fourth. Nate Thomas's big run, was a big part of that. And then getting that in the end zone allowed us to really get them in a completely off schedule situation, which forced them to do things that they didn't want to do, and put us in a great position to close out the game.
And we've talked already about what this meant in terms of your postseason hopes. But just after what had happened against Illinois State and going into the bye and having to think about it for an extra week, how good was this to just get back in a little bit more confident as you head into, you know, the two most pivotal and two biggest games of your season?
The Illinois State game certainly one you like to have back, and all our guys feel that way. But you don't get that opportunity in football. I've said this a lot. You don't get teams home and away. It's a one-shot thing, and so you got to put it behind you, and you got to move on to next week. And that's what our guys did with the bye week. You know, that's what we did in our preparation for Western Illinois, which I think everybody understood how capable a football team they were because they had beaten Illinois State the week before, and went down there and played and did things that we had to do. Won the turnover margin. We're really good defensively on third down. We made some big plays offensively, ran the ball when we needed to run the football to get the win, and now put that momentum back in our pocket as we head into the last 2 weeks of the regular season.